Good afternoon, Dr. Irune. So as Oando's Chief Operating Officer, we have a couple of questions to ask you. So could you give us an introduction as to what Oando Group is and your current position in country?
Right, so I'm Chief Operating Officer for Oando Energy Resources. It's the leading E&P company in Nigeria. It's an upstream company with currently about 470 million barrels of 2P and about 40,000 barrels of production a day. We are a 14 asset company, 6 producing assets, 2 development assets, and the rest of the assets are exploration assets.
You currently spoke on the panel about the ambitions for growth in Nigeria. Could you currently elaborate as to what those ambitions include?
I mean, since inception, our company has been a very ambitious company, audacious, I say. We have steadily grown from a downstream company into a midstream company and into this upstream company that we are today. A large proportion of that growth has been precipitated by a need for the country to gain value from its resources. And we have seen the opportunities and tapped into those opportunities effectively. We sit now in the upstream division, currently looking at, over the next 3 to 5 years, about 70,000 barrels of production as an ambition. Our 2P reserves are not really our issue or the issue at the moment. What we need is an extraction rate that is faster than we currently see. So in doing that, we see ourselves developing a production end of or accelerating our production ambitions to achieve the 70,000 barrels of production I've spoken about.
Sustainability and local growth is of importance to any indigenous company. What's your initiatives in place to meet those KPIs?
We are certainly aware of our social imperatives, and we have consistently ensured that through our operations and through the growth of the company, we have developed programs to support and sustain the fabric of the nation. Oando Foundation is a foundation independently run that looks at a holistic approach to education at a very, very basic level. I mean, the statistics point to the fact that if you engage in education at a very basic level, you're likely to stay in education as you grow older. Now, from that perspective, we're able to take this foundation into a lot of the acreages and the operations that we run, delivering schools. Currently, we're partners and adopted close to 80 schools across the country, delivering partnerships to incentivize students to come to school, deliver infrastructure, teaching aids, teaching support, and encouraging the local communities to contribute meaningfully to the development of these children. So this is our Focus Foundation. Now, we also, as part of our joint venture, have a program where we institute and enable farmers to develop and cultivate the areas in which we drill for oil. So we have an ecological balance between the activities that we do and the returns of the land, which should be left fertile for fishing, farming, and all the other activities. So we actively push these. I mean, some of the other things we do are we build roads and support communities in which we operate, employment, and all of these culminate to a social support, or I say a social enablement that should drive the value you just spoke about.
Okay, well, as a contract specialist in the oil and gas industry myself, I'm always keen to understand what your point of view is regarding challenges, especially with licensing rounds. If you could elaborate a little bit further from your own experience, what challenges you faced.
So, I mean, the government is keen on, most governments are keen on utilizing licensing rounds as a fair and transparent way of providing assets to an interested community, right? And we believe while this is a useful endeavor, we could evolve this process to allow for more one-on-one, deliberations and negotiations on assets and opportunities. We know the challenges of licensing rounds. They're cumbersome, they're expensive. They create almost like a stop-start point, an inflection in the market, and these are not particularly necessary. And avoidable, but we understand why some governments choose to do them. But if my personal opinion is we could perhaps a blend of licensing rounds and some of these negotiations and one-to-one trade deals would be more valuable.
With Oando's unique setup in country, it's all about optimizing your business model. What does the next 3 to 5 years look for you as a company? What does it look like?
Wow, 3 to 5 years, exciting. Growth, more growth. We're currently operators in exploration block. What we would like to do is engage in operatorship on the producing blocks. So that's an ambition, operatorship for sure. We see a huge component of our portfolio that needs development, so we have created a strategic initiative to drive that. Over the next 2 to 3 years, you will see substantial development of those assets and bringing them to first oil and adding the volumes of those activities to our current production numbers. 70,000 is the number. If we get to 100,000 in the next few years, I won't be surprised, but we see tremendous growth and an increase in our 2P resources as well.
That's fantastic. Well, it was a great pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.